Hey guys, just a quick note before we start this video up. Luminar and the company behind it, Skylum, did give me Luminar 4 for free, but I'm not being paid to say any of this stuff. This is all my thoughts and my experience from using it. I guess what I'm trying to say is this is not a sponsored video. Alright, I'm going to open this video up with the headline for those of you who watched like 2 seconds of my videos and then click away. Shout out to you Epic Gamers, by the way. You are doing wonders to my watch time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Alright, here's the Luminar 4 headline.
Fucking thing sucks!
Let me explain. That was actually a joke. Luminar 4 has a ton of great new features. The AI tools are honestly very impressive. They're fun to play with, they can save you a ton of time in your workflow if you use them properly. However, the program's optimization still needs a lot of work. In my experience, Luminar 4 is slow. Some of the load times when you zoom in and out of your photos is as slow or maybe even slower than Luminar 3. I also encountered a few crashes in the time I've spent with it, and they still haven't added the ability to search by metadata tags in your library. Natalie, my homie from Skylum, gave me a little more information about Luminar behind the scenes. You might remember her from the other videos. Oh, and by the way, I met her at Photo Plus. According to Natalie, they are still working to fix all the bugs at the moment and to boost the performance of the program, but the version I'm using is indeed the latest version that all the influencers on YouTube are trying out right now. So me and Ted Forbes, same version, baby. What up, Ted? Want to be my friend? Slide into my DMs. Add me on Tinder. Kiss my mouth. Luminar 4 is going to run you $79, but it's $69. Nice. If you pre-order it, and the release date is November 18th. Now that we got the headline out of the way, let's do a deep dive on Luminar 4. I'm going to talk to you about where I think this program lives in the photo editing world and where it can fit into your ecosystem. Then we'll take a look at the new AI shit, and then we'll talk about performance and the bugs with examples of it, and finally a verdict on whether or not you should get the program. Alright guys, let's just jump into it. When I first got my hands on Luminar 3, I kind of bought into the narrative that it could be a Lightroom competitor. That's how it was branded, that's how a lot of the articles that I saw talked about it, and that's how I clickbaited my videos. Granted, at the time, I wasn't necessarily using it long enough to have a definitive answer to that question, and even in those videos I mentioned the fact that there were things that needed to be improved before that could really be the case. In the long run, just using Luminar 3 for a longer time and now using Luminar 4, I'm kind of changing my tune on that a little bit. I don't necessarily see Luminar 4 as a Lightroom competitor. I think it's a program to use alongside it, and the good news is that because you're only paying this one-time price, it's not like you're going to be paying 2 yearly subscriptions. That is a good thing. But ultimately, I feel like these programs they do two different things. Lightroom is a very straightforward, library-oriented system to document your photos, to keep them all organized, and obviously to edit them. On the other hand, Luminar can do those things, but its speed doesn't necessarily make it the most conducive to it. And in my opinion, the most interesting thing about Luminar is the AI stuff. And frankly, I don't think I'm the only one who feels that way. At Photo Plus, when they were doing their demos of Luminar 4, they weren't sitting there saying, and look at how I can organize my library. They were saying, look at the AI sky replacement, look at the AI structure. They're boasting the AI features. And now it's interesting to see Adobe playing catch up by introducing AI features of their own. So Luminar does have an interesting hold on the market. But with that in mind, let's check out some of these features. Alright, so I'm going to start out with the AI sky replacement tool. That's one of the ones that I've seen advertised the most. So I have this picture that I took near my house just by the water. It's a really basic photo, nothing too crazy going on here, but we're going to try out the sky replacement tool on here. So it's really simple. We can go into the creative menu here and we can click on AI sky replacement. Now when we hit this drop down here, we have a number of choices, and any of these will automatically replace and mask out the sky, which I don't have to tell you, masking out and doing that manually can take quite a while. Now this is a pretty simple image here, but the masking is pretty damn impressive. It looks good. I didn't realize there was a little bird in there. You also have these functions here that allows you to relight the scene to make things look more seamless. For example, if you use a sunset, you might want everything else to be a little bit more yellowy looking. You can also use this control here to flip the sky, so if it makes more sense to have your sun on this side of the screen, for example, you can just flip it like that. And one of the coolest features in my opinion is you can defocus it. So if you're using a portrait, for example, where there's a lot of bokeh, you can make it fit with the background so that it just doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. Alright, so you might be saying to yourself, Lou, this is a really easy one. I mean, it's not that detailed of a background, so it's a pretty simple mask. I mean, you could probably even do that yourself in Photoshop pretty quickly. And you are right. I just wanted to get your feet wet before we threw you into the deep end of the pool. So check this out. This is that super cliche New York City Instagram post that everybody puts up, and I chose this one because there's a ton of intricate detail there. There's the suspensions on the bridge, all the different buildings, the foliage, all that fun stuff all comes together to have a lot of stuff to mask. So let's see how it does. So without pixel peeping, it looks pretty good. The tops of the building looks like a little bit of a weird masking issue because the blue, it almost feels like a gradient there. That is something you can probably smooth out by playing around with the settings, but either way, this doesn't have enough detail to really show you what I want to show you. So I'm just going to switch to a sky that has more clouds. If we zoom in here, we can really see the AI is doing a pretty damn good job of mixing these images together. Granted, this does have a lot of detail, especially in the suspensions on the bridge. You can see some areas the clouds get a little bit weird there, but it does look pretty alright. Did it add reflections to the windows? Wait. So without the relight, and then with the relight. Holy shit, that's really cool. And if you get out of pixel peeping land, you can see it's pretty damn good. The fact that the computer did this on its own is impressive. In just a few clicks, you can drastically change an image, and for someone who's like a wedding photographer or something like that, it's a really nifty trick to have up your sleeve. Now, one thing this brings up is copyright. Where are these images coming from? That's what I'm really curious about, because these, I'm assuming they have to be some sort of royalty free, because they surely could not have gone onto Google and just said, hey, yeet, and just taken these away. And one other burning question that I don't really have an answer to. Why does this really niche tool feel snappier than zooming in and out of photos? It's so stupid. Hey, what do you guys think of this Milky Way shot I took in the Bronx? Alright, let's reset this. So we have the basic settings here. I'm not going to waste your time going through these, you already know what these are, but more importantly, right beneath it, we have our AI Enhance tools. So you have the AI Accent and the AI Sky Enhancer. Basically, these tools increase the contrast in your image, and it uses AI to do so, so it detects what's in your environment there, and it tries to adjust things accordingly. It's a really great way to add punch to your image, and a lot of saturation, brings out a lot of colors. Now, these are not tools that I would typically ride at 100%, I think that's a little too much for my taste, but they are a really great way to get you going in the right direction without even jumping into the basic corrections tab. Also, I really love the on-off switch here. You can toggle the effect to see what exactly it's doing to your image quickly at a glance. The next tool I want to talk about is AI Structure. Now, Structure is very similar to the Clarity slider in Lightroom. It's kind of like sharpening, but it brings out a lot of details. It's good for backgrounds, not so much for skin. It makes people kind of look gross. But Structure is a very powerful tool to make like landscapes look really nice. So you can see right here, it brings out a ton of detail. It brightens things up a little bit. And one thing I really enjoy about the AI is that it is content aware. So it understands if there's a human in the photo, it'll detect the face, and it won't apply structure to the face, just the background, the environment surrounding the face. So it doesn't really ruin your skin tones. It's a really powerful tool that'll help you add a lot of punch to the backgrounds of your image. You can also bring the structure bar to the other direction to destructure your photos, but that just kind of looks, how do you say, bad. We're going to skip on down to the landscape enhancer because these are all kind of self-explanatory, the color and denoising and sharpening and stuff like that. You know what those are. Dehaze is very similar to the tool in Lightroom, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. And Golden Hour, boy, I bet you can guess what that does. It makes it look like Golden Hour. It just adds a warm filter onto the photo. The Foliage Enhancer once again tries to use that content-aware AI stuff to enhance the foliage. What a shocker. The one thing I noticed though in this specific instance here is it looks like it's going for a color range rather than just identifying, hey, this is a tree, hey, this is a woman's jacket. They're both getting enhanced. So that is something to be aware of. You might inadvertently be affecting other colors with this one in particular. I didn't notice this with some of the other AI effects that I was working with, just this one. Also, real talk, kicking that to 100% makes the trees look like mucus. It's just not a good look. Alright, time for the lightning round. We have sun rays, which we talked about in version 3. It's pretty cool. You can make a sun ray. It is reactive and content aware, so it'll blend in behind the bridge or behind the building. Pretty cool looking. You can also make Jesus truck, which, I mean, come on, who doesn't love that? Dramatic gets a dramatic nope from me. Just makes everything look dark and ugly. Matte is kind of like film fade. When you go too far though, it looks pretty bad. Mystical's just another nope for me. It just darkens things and gets a little hazy. You can load a LUT and you can also load textures. Didn't really mess with those too much, but they're self-explanatory. And so is glow. It just adds like a glow to the highlights. A little bit of film grain is nice, but 100% is just, woof, wow, amazing. And fog is just about the same. Alright, let's work with some portraits now. I know this video is getting kind of long, but I'm sure those of you who are thinking about buying this do appreciate a thorough look through the software. So for portraits, we have a number of retouching tools that are powered by AI. And I'm going to go ahead and use a photo of myself for this from that ring light video I made. I just feel a little uncomfortable taking portraits that I shot with a model or something like that and saying, hey, here's the completely raw, unedited photo. I don't know, it feels like I'm putting someone on blast or something, and I'm not really trying to do that. Now, skin retouching is something I'm a little weird about personally. I'm not a huge fan of it in general. Like, I hate all those Snapchat filters and Instagram filters because I don't know, I think it makes everybody look a little weird and it kind of gives people self-esteem issues, but that's a topic for a whole other video. So let's look at the AI skin enhancer. So when you turn this on, you'll start to see that it's going to try and smooth out the skin. It'll remove big pores. It's going to try and get rid of pimples and stuff like that. When you kick it up to 100%, boy, does it start to look crazy. It starts to resemble that Snapchat, Instagram filter. So I would not encourage going all the way on this. You also can check off this little skin defect thing, which will aim for larger things, I assume, like pimples and stuff like that. But I also noticed that it gets rid of like little beauty marks and stuff like that. So keep that in mind, because I'm sure if I had freckles right now, it would probably be aggressively targeting the freckles as well as pimples and skin defects. Under the portrait enhancer, you have a bunch of self-explanatory tools. Face light, as the name implies, will add a bit of light to the face. It's almost like a reflector, or if you have like a, I don't know, a small light there. It's not too intense. It's not going to emulate like a flash or something like that. Nice effect. Red eye removal and eye whitening are pretty basic. Eye enhancer is a really cool one. It detects where your eyes are, and to me it looks like it's increasing the saturation and the clarity a little bit. It kind of would be the equivalent on Lightroom as putting a mask around the eye itself and then doing just that, increasing saturation and clarity. Which it's nice to automatically do that. In my experience though, I have found that eye enhancer for whatever reason doesn't work on every image. I'm wondering if it might have to do with the fact that I'm wearing glasses. Dark circle removal will clear up underneath your eyes. Oh guys, look at this, it looks like I sleep at night. Wow, that's what my eyes would look like. Huh. Slim face is a really strange one. This is one I am really kind of opposed to using just because I feel like it's starting to distort things way too much, and I'm not a fan of that. Enlarge eyes is one that's it's just hilarious to me. Eyebrow improve just makes your eyebrows darker. Lip saturation and redness and darkening and teeth whitening, those are all pretty self-explanatory tools as well. They all work. Let's just do 100% on this, 100% on this, 100% on this, 100% on this, 100% on that. I think we found the ideal man right there, ladies and gentlemen. Then you have high key, which will attempt to make your photo look like a high key photo shot with a flash. I mean, it works. I don't know, I wouldn't really use it. And last but not least, we have the Orton effect, which kind of gives a nice softening, almost like a Vaseline effect. Again, these on full blast just look crazy. And last but not least, we have the Pro panel, which has things like advanced contrast and color effects, split toning, stuff like that. We don't really need to go too in depth in this. A lot of this is very self-explanatory. They all work. They do what they're supposed to do. And thus concludes the features extravaganza. I hope you enjoyed going through them with me. Let's talk about bugs and performance. Now here's a quick thing to keep in mind before we get too crazy talking about bugs and performance issues. Your mileage will vary based on whatever kind of computer you're using. From my experience, Luminar does run better on Mac than it does on PC, and go figure, I'm on a PC right now. And the components inside your computer, whether you're using a laptop or a desktop, all those things play a role. These are my specs. I don't have a top-of-the-line computer by any means, but it doesn't suck ass either. So just keep that in mind. Your experience may vary from mine. And just for the record, these are the specs Skylum recommends you have in order to run Luminar 4. And now it's time for a wonderful round of things my computer can do without having a mild stroke. It can run Adobe Premiere, along with Media Encoder exporting files. It can scan film, and watch a rant on video, and have a million tabs open in Google Chrome. And now it's time for a round of things that give my computer congestive heart failure. Zooming in on a photo in Luminar 4. high key stuff, which, okay, the computer's really not loving what's happening here. Oh. Well, it crashed. I did encounter quite a few crashes. I'd say about 4 or 5 in the time I spent recording this video. Now granted, in the grand scheme of things, that was several hours of operating the program, but that's 4 or 5 more crashes than I would have wanted. You could say a lot of negative things about the speed and performance of Lightroom, but it hasn't crashed in like the last 2 or 3 years for me. In terms of bugs, I've had quite a few times where effects just decide when they want to work or not. I really can't explain why this one's not working. Which is really strange. I'm not sure if it's just the AI stuff isn't working on the particular photo or what, but if there is, there needs to be some sort of feedback saying, hey, this effect can't work with this photo. Not enough information. Whatever the case may be, there needs to be some sort of indication. If it's just a bug and it's just randomly not working, that's also not acceptable. And to me, the biggest issue of all is the slowdown. Alright, this slowdown is getting kind of unbearable. I can wait. I'll wait. I'm gonna go get a beer. Hang on. Okay. How about... Nice. Zooming in is super slow. Switching between images is super slow. Keep in mind this is an issue that seems to be affecting PC way worse than Mac. We'll get to that in a second, but just look at how long it's taken to load the full res version of this image. I'll wait. Oh, it crashed. Nice. I decided to get a little geeky and I brought up the task manager. I went over to performance to see what exactly was going on under the hood. So for this test, I closed out everything. Nothing was running other than Luminar and of course shadow play to capture the screen, but my usage was pretty low at that point. Whatever I used, any AI related thing, the CPU usage would spike. It would hit the top of the graph every time. The fans would kick on really aggressively. So I don't know what exactly is going on under the hood there, but it is taxing. The other thing that's kind of strange to me is the graphics card doesn't really seem to be moving very much at all. It's kind of staying right around the same percentage the entire time. So it looks to me like these AI tools are not using GPU. If Luminar is not taking advantage of GPU, that is something that needs to be addressed immediately because we could see some huge performance improvements. And while I didn't spend a ton of time using Luminar 4 on my MacBook, I will say that a laptop that's on battery, not even plugged into the wall, gives me snappier response time than my desktop computer with better specs. So go figure that one. I think the optimization on PC is really what needs the work. So this video turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but what's the verdict here? Going back to what I was talking about earlier, I think that Luminar is starting to branch out and move further away from the Lightroom competitor mode and focus more on the AI stuff, which is totally cool. I do really like what they're doing with the artificial intelligence stuff, and I hope that they keep developing it further. The tools are really impressive and they're interesting. They can do some really great things to your photos really quickly. That said, the optimization, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Over the past year since Luminar 3, it seems like they really focused in on the artificial intelligence stuff and just forgot about optimization and performance, which to me, those artificial intelligence things, they're nice, but the optimization, the slow stuff, that's what really bothers me. That's what really makes me not want to use a program. It's just like video games. I'll take a consistent frame rate over good graphics any day. The decision is ultimately yours. If the AI features seem interesting to you, if they seem like they can work well with your workflow, then by all means get it. It's a really powerful tool. Just keep in mind, it needs optimization. And maybe that's something that's going to come in the future. But especially if you're a PC user, the optimization could be a deal breaker. Well guys, thank you so much for watching another video, really appreciate you as always, and a huge thank you to Natalie and Skylum for giving me Luminar 4, thanks for letting me test this program out. I'm looking forward to see what you guys do in the future. Sorry if you found the honesty to be a little bit more on the brutal side of things, but I think the honesty is really important, and I like the product. I just really need to see it move faster for me to be like, yep, this is the one. As always guys, you know where to find me. I'm right here on YouTube, Instagram, MySpace, Discord. Smash that subscribe subscribe, share the video, and what's your Luminar experience like? Let me know in the comments below. And guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye! Oh my god, I'm going through puberty. And frankly, I don't think I'm the only one who... in New York, Brooklyn, Instagram shot that everyone... oh my god. In just a few clips, you can... It handles the AI.
Like and subscribe to Sweet Lou Photography. The man.